Hey guys, what's up? Zax here. Today we are back with more F1 news, and today they've started testing on the F1 2017 tyres. You can see in these pictures here from Ferrari, the tyres look a huge amount different to what they do this year, and obviously they are much bigger, much wider. And you can see that picture there, the modified 2014 car. I think it's supposed to be modified in a way to look a bit like the 2017 car might look like. So, in particular, that rear wing definitely does look very different to what it does in 2016. What do you guys think? Do you like the look of those cars? Obviously, for me, I look at that car and it definitely resembles a World Series by Renault car, or whatever it's called this year, Formula 3.5 V8, or whatever it's called this year. It looks quite similar to one of those. Obviously, they had very, very big tyres at the rear, and that was sort of a distinctive part of that sort of whole series, was the cars, the way they looked. And these cars for F1 2017, I know it's only slightly modified from the 2014 car to what it could look like in 2017, but it does give me that sort of feel. And obviously when these new tyres come in, there's going to be a little bit of unpredictability. I'm assuming obviously more surface area touching the ground. These tyres are going to be a lot grippier than the ones we currently have in Formula 1, and by the looks of it, they're going to be pretty cool looking cars. I don't know what you guys think. It's obviously going to be a mixed up opinion. I saw in the comments of a couple of the sort of articles of the news articles. What am I talking about? Some of the news articles that talked about this, and there are lots of divided opinions on whether the people like the look of these cars. I know it's not going to completely look like this, but the car itself might look a little bit like this. Do you like the rear wing style? Do you like the sort of, I don't know, it's sort of the wider rear wing, it basically, isn't it? It's not as tall, it's sort of a bit of a chubbier rear wing. What do you guys think? I mean, that'd be a nice comment to leave down below. Obviously, we haven't really got any data about the tyres, about how much they grip they have in relation to the 2015 tyres, but 2016 tyres as well. I'm not really too sure exactly how much more grip or less grip they'll have, but I'm pretty sure they look like they're going to be, the cars are going to be sticking to the road a lot more. Those tyres look pretty massive, and I'm excited to see maybe some footage of the cars driving around the track with these tyres. Does it make it harder to, out of corners? Are they sliding a lot more? Really interested to see what they come up with. Pirelli obviously not released what sort of type of tyres these are yet, whether they're sort of super soft, hard, mediums or whatever, but I'm sure we'll get that in due course. Next up, and like I said, I'm not really that surprised at looking at this story, but I saw an article saying that Daniel Kvyat, when he swapped back to the Toro Rosso team, it really sort of demotivated him and he stopped enjoying racing, which obviously you're in Formula 1, you're in the sort of the peak of motorsport, or of what a lot of people see as the peak of motorsport, and obviously you're in a car which obviously is not the front of the grid, it's not down the back of the grid, it's definitely a mid-pack car, the Toro Rosso, but Daniel Kvyat, he's a driver that I've always liked watching. I think he's got a nice style of racing. Obviously sometimes can get a bit aggressive, as can any driver in certain situations, but I've always liked Daniel Kvyat, and I was really disappointed for him. Obviously, you probably saw in the video after Verstappen got promoted. I was really disappointed for Kvyat. I mean, nothing against Verstappen. Obviously, we know what he's gone and done, but I do think Kvyat did definitely, deserve a bit more respect. But at the end of the day, it did look like the right call for Red Bull, and Kvyat's career, I mean, it's questionable. What could be happening next year? I mean, is Sainz, Sainz probably going to be, I think he's confirmed for next year, isn't he? And looking like maybe Pierre Gasly might be alongside him for next year. So where does that leave Daniel Kvyat? Well, it's very unpredictable, the whole world of Formula 1. I mean, obviously, I don't know whether Kvyat has a massive sponsor behind him. Obviously, he's been with Red Bull for a very long time, since his Formula BMW days. So he's been with Red Bull for such a long time, and this could be the split of the two sides here at the end of the season. I mean, I can't really see Daniel Kvyat staying on for another season at Toro Rosso. Coming out and saying this, he's demotivated and he's really disappointed about obviously having to go to a slower team, and he's having to sort of reinvent himself. Obviously, when he was at Red Bull, he got a podium. Obviously, had a bit of a frantic race in Russia, which maybe was partly to blame of him getting demoted. But at the end of the day, Daniel Kvyat, he definitely needs to really sort of reinvent himself for the rest of the season. He needs to, constantly be beating Carlos Sainz to prove to maybe not Red Bull, but to other teams in Formula 1 that he's good enough. He's good enough to be racing in Formula 1. He's good enough to deserve any sort of seat, whether it's maybe a manual or maybe he could end up with someone like Renault. I'm not really too sure how it'll all work out, but I'm definitely sure that some teams are looking at him for next season. Who knows what could happen? You know, crazy changes in the sort of driver transfer market, obviously, and you know, never know. Somebody could, you know, be bought out of their contract, so Daniel Kvyat could end up going to their team. Who really knows? But obviously, for me, I hope Daniel Kvyat gets it back on the right roads. Obviously, he showed a lot of potential early on in his career. You know, the first time he was at Toro Rosso, and then when he got into the Red Bull, obviously he started to show his pace. He was getting closer and closer to Daniel Ricciardo. I suppose last year it was a bit of a, not really a fluke, but Daniel Ricciardo had less points, but obviously a lot more retirements in there as well. So I do feel for Kvyat, at least this rest sort of second half of the season, this break is going to be very important for him. He needs to get everything right in his head, and when we get back into the racing in Spa after the break, hopefully he'll come back with a bit of a vengeance and hopefully get a good result and prove to everyone why he got into the Formula 1 in the first place, because he was super quick, super consistent, and he was a really clean racer. Interestingly, after yesterday's Grand Prix, Ferrari come out and say that the progress in their car has basically stopped after the Spanish Grand Prix. I don't think it means that they've stopped trying, but basically they've sort of stopped getting any quicker, which is surprising. I mean, obviously in Formula 1 there's so much money going into it, and we expect the cars to be getting quicker and quicker throughout the season. Like if we compared the car that goes, you know, Australia, and then we compare the car in the last race, I think is Abu Dhabi, we compare those two cars, absolutely incredible difference just between those two. And obviously that's quite a long time since the Spanish Grand Prix, and to have no real update or no real sort of speed increase since then is quite sort of scary to look at in terms of, you know, Ferrari and where they're going. Obviously they've dropped behind Red Bull in the Constructors' Championship recently, which is obviously very important for them to finish second. You know, second's not obviously what Ferrari are aiming for. They're aiming for the championship every single year, but second is going to be way better for them than a third place. Going to another season, maybe they can get it right next season. Maybe the new tyres that we talked about earlier would suit the Ferrari car. Who knows? But maybe, you know, maybe next year can be completely different. And obviously every little upgrade they can do this year can help towards next season as well. I know there's different regulations next year, but every little bit of, you know, information in F1, it could prove vital. So very interesting to see that Ferrari really not improving as much as they wanted. And obviously Ferrari fans out there watching this video, what have you thought of this sort of middle part of the season, or sort of the, you know, after the Spanish Grand Prix basically? What have you guys thought? I mean, I don't know how many times they've been on the podium since then. I think it's only a couple of times Ferrari have been on the podium since the Spanish Grand Prix, which is really surprising. Obviously, considering where they started at the start of the season, they weren't that far away from the Mercedes, but now they're struggling to even be, you know, 5th and 6th in some races. But very interesting. I'd like to see your comment down below on this one. I'm interested to see what you think. Last up, I would like to talk about the Rosberg incident. I know it's not particularly news, but I didn't watch any of the Grand Prix except I found the overtake basically of Rosberg on Sky or whatever, and Sky website, and I think I just watched that. I wanted to see what all this talk was about. It's very, very interesting. Obviously, it's nice to see Rosberg get out there, get his elbows out, but I don't know whether he's going a bit too far at this point. I mean, I'd like Rosberg. I think a lot of the time he's proven that, you know, a lot of people wrong about how quick he can be. But yesterday, obviously, it went wrong from on the start, from what I read. Obviously, he got a really bad start, dropped to 4th or 5th or something, and that was really surprising, obviously, for him to get such a bad start. But then to try and make his way back through the field, trying to get past, it was Verstappen. He went for a late move down the inside, and it nearly worked. But the thing is, he didn't look like he turned into the corner when he could have. I think he purposely, once again with like the Hamilton accident in Austria, he purposely left it a bit later to turn into the corner to try and disadvantage his rival. And you know, he didn't need to. I think he would have got past Verstappen and he would have been on the podium basically if it just turned it. Who knows, guys? At the end of the day, he's a Formula 1 driver. We're just sitting home watching the Grand Prix, so we don't really know what was going on in his head, if the car was realistically going to be able to turn. Obviously, it's a lot. The thing is about Formula 1, obviously, and very, very fast cars, is that when you're braking in a straight line is a lot better than braking and trying to steer at the same time. You should never really brake and steer. So I can understand maybe if that was part of the reason why he didn't want to sort of turn in as early, but then if he was braking that late, obviously he was never going to really make the corner, but weirdly he just about did with his very weird line. But Verstappen ended up going off the track and was very annoyed. Obviously they got a penalty in the end. I think Verstappen was over the radio saying, you know, he pushed me off the track, which I guess he technically did. He left him no room whatsoever. But what do you guys think? I know there's going to be a lot of support for Verstappen on this one. Obviously I know Verstappen's got a lot of fans. I know Rosberg doesn't have a lot of fans here on YouTube, especially. I see in my comment section not a huge amount of people standing up for him, but so that's why I try and play devil's advocate from time to time. But I'm always interested to know your opinion on this little accident here, guys. My opinion, Rosberg, he didn't need to do it then. I think he probably could have got past Verstappen and ended up on the podium, but maybe this whole situation in the championship is getting to Rosberg a bit now. There's the pressure's on. He's quite a few points behind Hamilton now, and maybe he's getting a bit worried about it. So once again, guys, thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time for more F1 news, F1 2016 gameplay, MotoGP gameplay, all of that sort of stuff. Thanks again for watching. It's been about it. Goodbye. So hopefully you enjoyed the video, guys. If you did, I would really appreciate a like on the video. It does help me out and improve my content. Also, staying subscribed and also subscribing if you're new is really cool as well. It lets me know that you're liking the content I'm putting out. If you did enjoy this video, there's a link on the screen to another one. That's going to be some F1 2016 news or gameplay. I'll switch up the annotation depending on the day as well. So always a bit of fresh new content on there as well. Once again, thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I really appreciate all the support recently, obviously on the MotoGP and the F1 style videos. Once again, it's been Mari. Goodbye.